some breaking developments that we must tell our viewers right at the outset, because in decisions that were taken at the major cabinet committee on security and in continuance of those decisions, India has now suspended all visa services for Pakistani nationals with immediate effect. This decision comes days after the Pahalgam terror attack, the carnage, and follows the high-level security review by the Cabinet Committee on Security. All valid Indian visas issued to Pakistani nationals stand revoked starting April 27th. Medical visas will remain valid only till the 29th of April, according to the government's clarification. My colleague Aditya Rajkol joins us from the newsroom here. Aditya, what are the salient implications of this move? We've already seen the downgradation of ties between the two nations after that CCS meeting yesterday.
Well, we had broken this down yesterday in the news broadcast here on News9 that the next move could be diplomatic, and it could also mean that visas for all Pakistani nationals could be cancelled. In fact, this is a statement that has been issued by the Ministry of External Affairs saying that in continuation of the decisions made by the Cabinet Committee on Security in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack, the Government of India has decided to suspend visa services to Pakistani nationals with immediate effect. All existing valid visas issued by India to Pakistani nationals stand revoked by effective 27th April 2025. Medical visas issued by Pakistani nationals will be valid till 29th April 2025. All Pakistani nationals currently in India must leave before the expiry of the visas as now amended. And finally, Indian nationals are strongly advised to avoid travelling to Pakistan. Those Indian nationals currently in Pakistan are also advised to return to India immediately. So this is a big development that has taken place. It's multiple news in the single statement from Ministry of External Affairs. One, that visas for all Pakistani nationals have been now suspended. And on the other hand, Indian nationals in Pakistan have been advised to come back, and strongly advised, any Indian national willing to go to Pakistan is strongly advised not to travel at this particular moment. It's also, as we run towards that moment of a military strike or a kinetic operation that India may launch against Pakistan, that these developments are taking place. Yesterday, Cabinet Committee on Security meeting for 2.5 hours. Then 5 major diplomatic decisions taken against Pakistan, including the removal of 3 military attaches, and now another statement of cancelling all visas for Pakistani nationals.
Well, Aditya, let's also touch a little bit about, Pakistan Foreign Ministry statement that we're expecting at 5 p.m. today as well. We all know that Shehbaz Sharif and, General Asif Munir, everybody got into a huddle in Pakistan as well. There's a little bit of a statement that's come out and quite rich, coming after the jugular vein remark, coming after the fact that we know Pakistan is the epicenter of global terrorism. It's their biggest export. They're now calling it unjust and politically motivated. How does one look at the statement that's coming out of Islamabad right now?
It's quite, expected, on expected lines, Kabir, because Pakistan is habitual of lying, spreading misinformation and propaganda when it comes to India, and in particular, India's Jammu and Kashmir. So it's on expected lines. They had to rebuff whatever India had said. Plausible deniability there also from Pakistan. There was a National Security Committee meeting led by the Pakistani puppet Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and he went on to take this meeting for more than an hour, and some decisions have been taken. Some, tit-for-tat actions will be announced at 5 p.m. when the Pakistani Foreign Ministry has a press conference. It is being speculated in the Pakistani media that some of the agreements, like the Shimla agreement, could be either revoked or suspended, or some decisions could be taken. So we are waiting for that to happen at 5 p.m. It's quite expected. It's not something that we do not expect. India is prepared for any kind of diplomatic steps that Pakistan may take, even to the extent of breaking any kind of diplomatic ties. Because when it comes to terror attack, when it comes to terrorism, and when it comes to Indians suffering Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, there is a red line that Pakistan has crossed, and certainly Pakistan will have to suffer. It's not just the diplomatic and economic steps. There would be kinetic military options also now being considered and checked, and perhaps in the next few days visible on ground.
All right, Aditya Rajkol bringing us those latest developments. Many thanks, Aditya, for joining us here on the news break and helping us and the viewers understand what's really happening on the diplomatic front. Joining me here on the broadcast is also Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar, Strategic Affairs and Defense Expert, and also with us Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former Indian diplomat. A very warm welcome to you, General, and to you, Ambassador, as well. Ambassador, we're just breaking this news at the moment. What's going on through your mind? Are you, happy with the swift move moves and decisions that were taken at the CCS yesterday. There's also the statement that's come out of Pakistan. If I could read a little bit of an excerpt, and you can help us, read between the lines here. It says, the National Security Committee of Pakistan made the following observations. It says, Kashmir remains an unresolved dispute between Pakistan and India, as recognized through multiple UN resolutions. Again, a rich statement coming from Pakistan. Pakistan continues to support the right of self-determination of the Kashmiri people, the continued Indian state oppression, abrogation of statehood, political and demographic gerrymandering has persistently led to an organic backlash from the people of IIOJK. How does one look at these statements coming from Islamabad? One is certainly going to get angry, isn't it?
I think if we get angry, that's what they want. We should ignore it. That's the best way to deal with such statements, which are baseless, and which actually demonstrate that the Pakistani government, puppet or otherwise, and the army chiefs are seriously rattled by the measures that have been taken, and also seriously rattled by the fact that the five permanent members of the Security Council have all of them condemned this attack, apart from other world leaders, which actually shows Pakistan in a very poor light and has demonstrated once again, if any proof was required, that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism, and it is impossible for India to have any form of a civilized relationship with such a neighbor. Um, the measures that have been read out now, the additional measures, uh, for a professional diplomat like myself, would demonstrate that there is very little left in this relationship now. The next step would be to break the relationship. There's nothing else left because it was already downgraded. It was operating at a non-ambassadorial level. Now the three service chiefs, the posts have been abolished. Um, the numbers are now down to, I think, 24, if I'm not mistaken, on each side. Uh, Neither side allows each other's diplomats to move outside a certain perimeter. That has been the case for many, many years now, from the time that my colleagues were serving in Islamabad. So, what the logical question arises, Kabir, that what is left? That is what Pakistan would understand. What are they going to abrogate the Shimla Agreement? What Shimla Agreement? What has hit them? What has hit them really for hard is our final suspension, and I'm so happy about that, of the Indus Waters Treaty. That has hit them where it really hurts. That was the most unfair treaty. If we accepted it decades ago, when our water requirements were much less, our population was much less, we should have abrogated it long time ago. Such a treaty which demonstrates the generosity of India vis-a-vis Pakistan could only have functioned if the Pakistanis had reciprocated and behaved like civilized neighbors. So the Indus Waters Treaty suspension has hit them really hard. I was ambassador in Netherlands when they tried to stop us from building a small run-of-the-river dam on our side of the line of control. They immediately took us to the ICJ. They did not win. They have been systematically trying to stop us from using the waters of the Indus for the benefit, for the development, particularly of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So that has hit them really hard. As far as the Shimla Agreement is concerned, Kabir, what are they going to abrogate? What is there in it? The Shimla Agreement, they got back their 90,000 prisoners. They are most welcome to hand them back to us if they're alive. What else is there in the Shimla Agreement? There's nothing. The Shimla Agreement, in fact, demonstrate that they had to agree to the surrender of 90,000 POWs. We send them back, and Bangladesh was created. If they want to abrogate the Shimla Agreement, then they should send the Pakistani army and annex Bangladesh. I can't see any other way of abrogating the Shimla Agreement. So I think this is just grandstanding. It's our bankrupt state, which is falling into pieces, which is in the heart of a civil war, which will break down sooner rather than later into the rum state of Punjab and Baluchistan, and that's how it's going to be. And Baluchis want to break free in any case. So what is going to be left but Pakistan, Punjab? It
No, you're
always
absolutely
was.
right. You're absolutely right, Madam Ambassador. We're also breaking on screen right now that Pakistan has also, announced the closure of the Wagah border. I mean, I don't know what they were going to do once we closed our Atari border. What were they going to do with one side of the gate open? That's for them to decide right now. Again, you rightly pointed out, Ambassador, that there's not much left in this relationship, this diplomatic alliance, if there was any at all. And if the next step is the breakup of this alliance, I don't understand what are we waiting for particularly. Of course, those thin strings might be attached. We've got a shared history. A lot of factors at play over here. I did want to talk about that, but let's bring in also on the show with us is Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar. General, do come in on here. We're learning about Pakistani nationals and their visas standing revoked at this point in time. Indian nationals have been asked to immediately come back as soon as possible. For all those on medical visa, the extension is for about 2 more days till the 29th of this month. But all other ambassadors in New Delhi, they're being called in for a huddle where the government is going to brief them on the Pahalgam carnage. How important is this step to tell the entire world? Of course, it needs no particular showcasing. The entire world knows there's enough proof and evidence out there how Pakistan, day after day, age after age, exports terrorism. But how important is this and how significant is this move? All ambassadors brought into a huddle. They're going to be briefed over the Pahalgam carnage.
Kabir, thanks for inviting me over. You all take your attention to the morning Prime Minister's speech in Bihar, in which, for the first time in a public rally, he spoke in English, and he was addressing the international community. He was sending a message to the international community on this incident and the stand what India is going to take, because that is the most important message. Now in the evening, if we are going to be calling all the ambassadors, a similar kind of message is going to go that India is not going to stop. We are going to uh, take our revenge. We are going to address this issue in the most forceful manner. Yesterday, we heard the Raksha Mantri also speaking. And between the lines, what I could decipher was that apart from targeting the terrorist, uh, we intend to target those people who are behind them, who are training them, who are orchestrating this entire terrorism in India. And it points straightly to the Pakistan army. So uh, the battle lines are drawn, I would say that. The first shot has been fired by India, mainly a diplomatic one. We were already government to government, there was no communication. We have gone a step further in stopping the people to people contact. And also on the Indus Valley, which the ambassador has mentioned, because it will have far reaching repercussions for Pakistan. 68% of their rural population is dependent on water from the Indus Valley, from the Jhelum and Chenab. And Pakistan has hardly got only a 10% storage capacity to store this water. So we have so far put the treaty in abeyance. We have not unilaterally called it off, but it is a strong signal which is going from India to Pakistan. Now, to talk
Certainly.
about uh, with the ambassadors meeting, it is very, very clear that the phase two of India's action is going to be a military action. It is going to be kinetic action because, see, I don't foresee India crossing the line of control or getting into Pakistan, but it is going to be a kinetic action in the kinds of uh, precision guided attacks on Pakistan specific targets. Uh, we in the Indian Army, we are prepared for all contingencies. It is not that we start planning now. It is the decision will be that what type of target would be need to be addressed. Plans are in place. Plans are already drawn. The target selection and the type of weapon which is going to be used for that target These are the two things which are going to be decided. And of course, the third important aspect is the timing of the attack. So I don't foresee uh, things being done in a hurry, because we don't have to start reacting to a situation. We have to take our own time. We have to do our planning. Also, we have to look at the kind of retaliation which the adversary is giving. In the evening, there is going to be a press conference in Pakistan. It is likely to be a kind of a tit for tat conference. See, like we got out of that Indus Valley agreement. Pakistan will say Shimla agreement, without realizing that Shimla agreement means nothing to India. And
Well,
it is
absolutely. The ambassador put it out quite clearly and categorically. But you're right. This we need to take our own time because the response has to be kinetic. It shouldn't be a tit for tat, which is what Pakistan is aiming for right now. Our response, needless to say, and rest assured, is going to be more holistic and overwhelming. And of course, you cited the Prime Minister's own response in Bihar today. But Ambassador, again coming to this diplomatic strike on Pakistan now, you've been talking about how the people-to-people ties are pretty much existent. Our cultural ties are also negligible. I mean, all the spice trade and route and culinary experiences with both the countries now. Sporting angle was the only tie that we could sort of leverage on, but I think the recent Champions Trophy has also told us that there's another way around it. India-Pakistan can play, if at all we're going to play each other again, that's also a big question, can play in a neutral ground. Strategic diplomatic tools that India has with it in its arsenal, just beyond FATF and UN designated sanctions, what is more that India can look at when we're talking about ostracizing Pakistan at a global level, ma'am?
There are many tools to look at. First of all, this meeting with the foreign ambassadors is very important because every country has been invited, and that includes ambassadors of the OIC, etc., who have many Arab ambassadors have condemned the attack, including the Saudi Crown Prince. That's extremely important. Secondly, we can very well raise this matter in the UN Security Council, where all the P5 have condemned this terrorist attack. We can raise it in the Human Rights Council, and we can also raise it with the World Bank, which has given loans to Pakistan, to say that this is how Pakistan is misusing World Bank funds to fund terrorist activities of this kind, targeting civilians, targeting civilians of a particular religion, unheard of in civilized history, and unheard of in Jammu and Kashmir ever. This is the first time that such a thing has happened, which is why the people of Jammu and Kashmir have shut down the valley in protest, saying that our guests have been murdered, which is again a clear indication that such actions by Pakistan no longer have any resonance in the valley, because the the tourists who came have brought development with them, have brought money with them, have shown goodwill to them, have restored Srinagar and its beautiful hill stations around it back into a situation where everybody was planning holidays in that part of the world. That will continue after things have calmed down. That will continue. That must continue. The development of Srinagar and Pahalgam and all the other areas will continue and must continue. All Indians must support that. To that itself will also defeat the nefarious plans of Pakistan to stop this process of rapprochement and reconciliation. But more than that, as I was saying, if they are doing tit for tat, we just should ignore it. For instance, what option did they have if we close one part of the Wagah border? What are they going to do on the other side? Nothing, right? Except the ridiculous march they do morning and in the evening to before they shut it down, which I've always found extremely vulgar, in my opinion. But my question is, what next? And what next is has been very well put forward by you, Kabir, and by my co-panelists, which is that the next step, if it's kinetic action, we do not have to cross the line of actual control physically. We have now so many other ways of doing it, which I'm not going to outline on national television. But we We have many, many ways, and we know exactly where the camps are, and we can just with precision take them out. That's the first thing. But the second question which arises is that with the kind of behavior that they have demonstrated 2 days ago, the heartbreaking funeral that whole of India has witnessed from this morning, which is absolutely heartbreaking, leaves us with the question that there is now no popular appetite in India to continue with any relationship with this country, this hub of terrorism. There is no enthusiasm on the part of even those who used to advocate uh, uh, that let's at least have people-to-people contact. Let's have Pakistani theatre, movies, etc. Let's play with them. Let's have games with them. All that is finished. So I am saying that we are moving inexorably to a situation where there will be a complete breakdown of the diplomatic relations. In which case, we would have to request some foreign embassy present in or an Arab embassy present in Islamabad to look after whatever little interest we have, which includes, for instance, our property in Islamabad, like they would have property here in Delhi. They own their high commission, we own ours, etc. Those are the kind of arrangements which are made in advance before breaking diplomatic relations. That, for instance, is what happened between Iran and United States. And in those days, it was usually Switzerland, a neutral country, that was asked to look after the diplomatic interests of the two countries and the two capitals. But there will be a break of diplomatic relations. I think we are moving towards that, and we are definitely moving
You're
towards.
absolutely right, Ambassador. It seems like, we're all in a little bit of a denial because let's call a spade a spade. If this is a phase of final disengagement, complete disengagement, then let's call a spade a spade. And I think the cogwheels, the important ones, they're already mulling in those directions about, property, about owning, all of that that you just spoke about, Ambassador. General Kochhar, I did want to talk about, now that Indians have been advised to return, Pakistani nationals, their visas stand revoked. Is there a potential for escalation on the border points? That's something that we now need to take a look at, but that's going to happen right on the other side of this quick commercial breather here. Ambassador Mukherjee and General Kochhar, do stay on with us. Right on the other side, more of these discussions and decoding that is needed.